assemble!
Yeah, we'll show those bad
No,
guys!
objection! Listen. I'm a lawyer and I never lose a case. And I fix my hair with glue.
But what you don't tell all your clients, justice is a science. I don't think the courtroom has a clue.
But maybe they do.
They don't.
Aw.
Hey, wait! Come on! You're going way too fast!
Tough break, butthole. You gotta go way faster. I go really fast. I never take it slow. I can break the speed of sound.
I'm his buddy, but I can't keep up at all. Out of breath and there's a countdown. Oh, man! Oh, God! My asthma! Oh. Hey, man, do you ever think maybe we're the bad guys?
Oh, Gundam, shut the hell up! I am also fast, but I drive in a car. It's a nicer car than yours.
But God forbid you should defeat him. He'll try to start a fight. He'll beat you up, pull down your drawers. Oh!
Gotta run around my town and try to find some cash. My neighbors save me all the work.
Yeah.
You just break in new people's houses. It's time to face the fact that you're a jerk.
All these wretches and libertines douse them all in gasoline.
Though they say they're here to help,
Mostly they're out to help themselves. We're sick of hearing it. Your heroes are degenerate. There's not a good one in the bunch.
we rob and murder.
Everything.
We're on the hunt for prey to slay.
Join us now and chase the heroes away.
Well, what about anti-heroes? Well, shucks, I'm anti-heroes. No, I meant like, no, never mind. I'm a bad guy, but I saved a bunch of kids. Got a conscience and a heart. Boss, your body counts 1,000. They're stacked up like a mountain. You serve up executions a la carte. Well, yeah.
It's me. I like to kill a wildlife. Stomp a mushroom with a tissue. I maybe dig a vegetable and feed it to a frog. What will it do? He died! Woohoo!
Unconditionally thrilling, indiscriminately killing. Golly gee, you're just a villain, just like me, another villain.
I'm like the god of death, and I cook crystal meth.
What did my robots ever do?
Innocent blood is on your hands. Got half a mind to tell your fans.
Honestly, it feels amazing. All the planets that I'm raising.
Gotta say it feels amazing.
No tears, my friend. Only dreams.
I am so bad.
Are we the hosts of the nightmare now?
No. Where's the exit? Let's go back the way we came.
Mike, I think we're the hosts.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Den. And we're going to continue on with the perfect grade unicorn build. Now, some of you may have remembered from previous streams that I talked a little bit about the engineering that goes into these. I did a little bit of building off stream to kind of finish up the one leg just because it was taking so long to do on stream. And I kind of wanted to show off some of that engineering that they've put in here. So this is the leg without all the outer armor pieces on. And I wanted to show this little joint here. So this is the actual knee joint here. And then this, because of the way this all sandwiches together, this piece here moves independently of the rest. And what that accomplishes, if you look really closely, you can watch as this piece pivots. This little armor piece moves out a little bit, and the knee extends out, and then it lays back down, which allows movement that you can't get from other kits like it. For instance, this is the perfect grade 100 leg. Or not the perfect grade. This is the high grade, I should say. Not the perfect grade. The perfect grade is the big one. It only moves to there, and that's all the movement you get. This knee doesn't move at all. So you've got a lot larger range of motion, a lot more realistic movement. At least I think so. And as we assemble the rest of this second leg, you might actually be able to see kind of what facilitates that movement. So now we start. So make sure I'm doing this right. Yep. So this goes together like so. Then it locks into this piece here. Helps if I do it the right direction. And slides into here. This is part of that mechanism that allows that knee to move back and forth like it does. And it locks into this front armor piece, which will actually facilitate some of the other stuff later on that I'll show you here. These outer armor pieces. Go on like, Oh, there we go. And these outer armor pieces go on, creating that front piece. Now this goes onto this piece, and then connects onto this. Through this piece here. Make sure I've got this the right direction. Oh, that's right. That piece pops onto there. And that all goes together. And then this piece, oh, I've got some flash to clean off of this from the sprues. And this little track is part of what allows this whole knee piece to move. Now that that's all done, we can finish assembling the rest of this. Back piece. Side armor pieces. There we go. Now you can see the leg is almost fully complete. This piece here is probably the most difficult piece to fit on, because this fits not only on this front piece but also into these side pieces, so you have to put these side pieces on first. And then this all locks in there like that. These parts are a little tricky as well. You just got to make sure they get snapped into place really good. And these parts, this is where a lot of their engineering comes in. Because this one also has multiple modes, it has some interesting little features built into this. So this particular mobile suit has what's called destroy mode. So this little panel lifts up so that this can extend out, exposing that under frame. It has this knee piece that moves out of the way. Pull this little piece out, and then this comes in here and locks into that. This front piece slides out. This bottom portion of the leg extends out. These side panels lift out, and there's these little wings that pop out on each side of it, of those panels. And it does that on both sides. So both of these pop out, but that is actually for the second mode, which is unleashed mode. And then this piece here comes out and opens up. So there's a lot of moving parts that they had to engineer into this to make it do that. And I personally think that's one of the things I absolutely love about these model kits, is they actually take the time to engineer all of that so they can do all the things as close to as they can get to the actual anime. Now the foot goes in there, and now we have both legs completed. And again, for that little bit of size comparison, that's a 1/100 scale, 1/60th scale perfect grade. Now we'll set these guys aside. And we'll move on to the next part. The next part being the lower torso, or as some people you'll hear call it, the skirt armor. So that part. And this part here, just like that. No polycaps, no polycaps. That goes in there. Oop, come on, rotate. There we go. There we go, all the way in. Sandwiches together. We'll do a little bit of cleanup here. And now for the outer parts. And there's another piece I need. Off of that runner. Ah, there it is. That one there. So let's start with this side, and I need one of, not the polycaps, but one of these guys here. And I need number 10, so this one. Not that I see much difference between 10 and 9, but that's okay. It fits in here, like so. Although I think I'm going to go like this. Just zoom a little bit more here so that you guys can see a little bit closer. And then this piece fits in here. And there's movement there. Now we do basically the same thing. Oh, except for I also need to fit this piece in there. Whoop. Like there we go. Like so. Because that locks it in place so there's no movement. But you can unlock it to allow movement and then lock it into place so that it doesn't move. We'll show why that's important here once it's all assembled. Now I need polycap 27, this guy here. And it pops right into there. And there is one of the psycho frame pieces that I need. Should be on this one. Yeah. H19. And 20. Oh, you're still having internet problems? Hopefully it's just an oddball hiccup. That happens from time to time. I had that happen the other night, actually. I was sitting there watching YouTube videos and it just kind of died on me. Clean up some of these edges here. There we go. And these go together like that. Then I'm guessing it goes in here like this. And now these pieces get sandwiched together. And this piece rotates out. Oh, nice. Yeah, I still need to order that. I'm hoping to be able to this payday so I can try it out. Okay, now I can kind of show that because these are, and I'm dropping stuff. Oh well. Like I said, happens all the time. So this piece here, if you can pop it out of the way, takes a little bit of force, which is good because you don't want it unlocking on you unnecessarily. Allows this to rotate. And what that does is allow you to get more dynamic poses out of it by being able to shift that hip position of the model. So, give a little better demonstration here. You can kind of set this on there without pushing it all the way in. It'll rotate that hip position forward or back so that you can have it a little more stable when you're moving it or posing it. Let's lock that back into place. This is also part of the transformation sequence, which we'll show once all the armor pieces are on here. I need this one here. And these all being outer pieces are all going to be undergated, I know that. So that'll take a little bit more cleanup. Like that. Yeah, you'll have to let me know how the cereal bars are. Because I'll probably just order the cereal itself. Oop. Let's clean up that before it ruins my fit and movement. I forgot to, even though I knew it was there. There we go. And I need an additional piece for this. Yeah, see, that's what I was thinking. Potentially getting them for on the go. For work and stuff. I think they'd be really good for that too. There we go. This pops out and that comes out like that. And where is that? Should be here. There's a back piece. There it is. They did put undergate on this one. That's interesting. They don't often do that on the under parts that aren't really seen. It's a little interesting that they put undergate on there. Now you can, if you want to, take and sand these nub marks down if you really want to make them blend a little bit more or make for smoother connections. I usually don't, but I will from time to time depending, and I like these little sanding sticks. They're really good for that. There we go. And we can put the upper portion back on. The Think bars? I don't think I've ever tried the Think bars. Are they like a cereal bar or like a protein bar or? Okay. Oh, I'm trying to put this on the wrong way, aren't I? Yep, I am. Maybe. Oh. Hang on. Yeah, I haven't tried too many protein bars. I prefer, as far as protein bars go, the only ones I've ever tried are the pure protein. And I really like a lot of their flavors. There we go. Now this can go on and lock everything in place. Well, that's not bad at all. That's really not bad. Now to start assembling. The skirt pieces. The front skirts, I believe, looks from what it looks like. So that piece. And then the corresponding piece, which is 18 for the under part. And then H3 goes here. Yeah, those actually sound really good. I'd probably personally stick with the triple chocolate. I'm not a big fan of French vanilla. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with going back to chocolate. Like I told you, it's not about... It's part of it is about control on how much you eat. Okay, so now what goes on top of it? Is it time for the armor pieces? It is. Those should be here, yep. Should be this one here. Yeah, when you step away from something for a while and then come back to it, sometimes that's exactly the way it is. There we go. Ooh, that's pretty thick to try and clean up, but we'll do the best here. This potentially would be an instance where I would use a sanding stick, honestly. Here we go. And it's starting to come together. And I need the lower portion that's connected to that. There we go. More undergating to clean up. Now I know some people who build these Gundam models, and while they like the detail of the perfect grades, they don't like the tedium that comes with dealing with some of the undergating that they put on these, because it can make it a little more time consuming to build. I did that wrong, didn't I? I snipped the wrong one, I bet. Yes, I did. There we go. Oh, it's for the other side, which we'll be building shortly. That's okay, that is an easy fix. That is a very easy fix. There we go. Oh, that has a little bit of movement that I didn't know was there. That's interesting because that is intriguing, because that was a bit of movement that I didn't know that it had in it. Even having seen Todd and I can't remember the other guy's name from Hobby Link Japan actually build this and show it off. And now I need B12, which is going to be over here. There it is. Now, more undergating. Where would you start? Well, I talked a little bit about that last stream, but my recommendation would be starting with the master grade kits, or they actually have now what are called entry grade kits, which are similar to the master grade kits, the 1/144 scale. They're usually the easiest ones to start with. They don't take as much to build. And they're overall easier to deal with. I feel like I'm missing a piece. I am missing a piece. Now, a lot of those, Sydney, you can actually pick up at Target now. Target actually has both the entry grade and the master grade for some of the kits. There we go. That's what I wanted. And they're usually not super expensive either. They're like anywhere from like $12 to $22 roundabouts. Some of them might run a little bit more depending on how much plastic there is to them. And this will lift up and out of the way now, just like that. Or at least it's supposed to. I don't think I've got it on there quite. There we go. Now it's on there right. I also found out that Target has a couple other Bandai's kit styles, which is actually the Figure Eye standard kits, which I might get a couple of those to do as well. Hey there, Bowie. How you doing today? But their Figure Ice kits are kits of specific like anime characters. Like they've done a whole line of Dragon Ball Z characters. They even have some Star Wars models out there too, which I've done a few of. I'm glad to hear you're doing good, Bowie. I'm not doing too bad. Their Figure-Ice kits can get interesting. They're not as posable, really, as some of their more advanced kits. But they're kind of fun if you like specific anime characters. I thought about getting some of the Dragon Ball ones just because they're very recognizable characters. I was never a huge fan of the Dragon Ball series, but it wouldn't be a bad thing to have some of them to kind of display. And they'd just be fun builds overall. What piece am I missing? I'm missing a piece. Ah, there's the piece I'm missing. Now, Sydney, if you are interested in starting the Gundams, that would be where I'd recommend starting. You may actually want to look at some of the Figure-Ice kits if you just want something to kind of build that might be a little more interesting, at least visually. I find that Gundams, despite how many different series they've done, there's not as much variety, I guess, as their Figure-Ice kits. I need that other little piece. There it is. The other ones that you could start with as well, just because they're usually pretty simple, are the 1/100 scales. They're high grades, because again, there's not a lot of parts to them, but they're pretty easy to to do and build. And oftentimes you can find a larger variety of them compared to some of their other kits. Nor are they as expensive as like the perfect grades or the real grade kits. And I'm forgetting undergating. Oh, that's one of the big chunky ones. There we go. And let's nip that one with nippers. The one thing I will say is pretty much anytime you are working on, well, this goes for almost any model kit, you expect to have to vacuum with it, because you will have lots of little tiny little pieces everywhere afterwards from all the cleanup work. Oof. And then once I finish building this perfect grade, I have a couple ideas of other builds that I want to do. It's all going to depend on where I get to and what kind of stuff I can do and what I can get my hands on. That always is the hard part. Let's make sure this actually functions the way it should. And that did not lock in there the way it's supposed to. And that's a common thing with these, those things not locking into. There we go. I heard a nice little snap that time. That is going to be a troublesome piece, I think. I think that might just be one of those pieces that once I build it and get it all assembled, this kit may not be one that gets moved around a whole lot. Because despite Bandai's really tight tolerance on most stuff, there are some pieces that will cause you problems. So I'll probably leave it in one mode or the other, just for that reason. I wonder if that's designed to make, well, okay, yeah, see, and it popped out again. Yeah, that's going to be one of those troublesome pieces. That's okay. That is the front skirts. What's it got me building next? Is it the side skirts? It is. It is going in a very, very specific order here. Well, you know, of course it is. It is a model kit after all. So we will just do these both at the same time because these are completely and totally identical. So there's no point in separating them out, honestly. And Okay, so it's both of these pieces, which makes sense because there's a little bit of motion in these as well with the transformation. Probably the upper and lower pieces here. The side skirts. Hey, Kinetic, how you doing tonight? And this locks in. Yeah, like that. Just woke up from a nap. There are days when I wish I could do that. My night's not going too bad here. Finished up the leg parts. Now I'm getting the rest of it done here, hopefully. Oh, there it is. You don't, you hate sleeping too much. See, and that's my problem. If I sleep too much, I'm useless. So I definitely feel that, Sydney. Okay, that's all cleaned up. Clean that up or else it's not going to sit correctly. I still feel like that's not quite sitting right either. I wonder if this needs to go in there first. No, it can't. Okay. Ornery and useless. Yeah, I just I'm not necessarily ornery, I'm just I'm just pretty much completely and totally tired and have absolutely no energy at all. Did I put that on wrong? Oh, I did put that on wrong. Okay. There we go. Well, parents can be that way sometimes. There we go. They don't always realize the type of things that their words say. On days off, you feel useless when oversleeping because you lost time that can be used for gaming. You know, I kind of feel that, and I would feel it even more if I actually gamed as much as I used to. I really don't. But most likely once this is done, until I can get some other models to build on stream, I'll probably go back to gaming some on stream. Probably go back to Horizon Forbidden West and start playing that again. Probably start doing my, as I like to call it, my Rage Against the Machines run on Generation Zero. My run where basically I just kill everything, no matter what, or it kills me. And eventually I'll probably dive into some of my old PlayStation 3 games, possibly. Or, since I've got some of them on the PlayStation, I may pull out fire up some of the classic PlayStation 1 games. Maybe start doing a run of Xenogears. I've also thought about doing a run of the original Parasite Eve. Well, I shouldn't say the only Parasite Eve, since Square has not seen fit to do a remake of it. I would love to see them do an updated remake of the Parasite Eve franchise. These pieces are going together pretty easily. There we go. That is very true, Kinetic. There are a lot of good games that need remakes. I've got some buffer in here, some frame skippage. There we go. My internet must be having problems too. I've noticed a lot more of that these last few times I streamed. There we go. Yeah, my system's not saying there's no... Yeah, it looks like my internet's having some problems. Because OBS didn't tell me I had skipped frames, so it just must be problems with my internet. There we go. There's the side skirts. Hey, Kinetic, what would be your number one game that you'd love to see them remake? And now for the back skirt. Now I need these pieces. It is a tough question, isn't it? I really would love to see them see Square remake the Parasite Eve franchise. I would love to see them remake the classic Tomb Raiders. Yeah, they've rebooted the Tomb Raider franchise a few different times. And while the new ones are good, they just don't have that same nostalgia as the old ones do. And there's a lot about them that could potentially be improved with a lot of the new graphics engines, besides just how they look, but also modern control schemes could probably do a lot for those games. And potentially they could fix a lot of the issues. Yes, exactly. Too much killing and less tomb raiding. There was a lot more to exploration in the original Tomb Raider franchise than what there is now. The original Tomb Raider was probably one of the first PC games I ever played of that type anyways. I would love to see Square also completely remake the original Xenogears as well. Because that is a franchise I have always loved. It's part of the reason I picked it up as soon as I saw it was part of the PlayStation classics on the PlayStation Network. Because that is one of Square's classic RPGs, and it was a really good game. I liked the mix between on ground as well as fighting in a mech. Tomb Raider Anniversary actually got you into gaming. Nice. I actually, somewhere in my box of all my stuff, I actually have the original PC CD for Tomb Raider Gold, as well as a bunch of other old PC games that you pretty much can't really run on a modern computer. Why I still have them, I really don't know, but I do. So, Kinetic, you remember when Tip was playing Detroit Become Human? Yeah. Yeah, Sydney. Skyrim, I think, got a lot of people into gaming. Sometimes you wish you got into gaming earlier in life. You know, the gaming... Yes, she did finish the game, but I actually have an odd connection to that game because I actually have one of Quantic Dream's very first games for the PC. I think they also did it for console, I think for the Sega Saturn. A game called Omicron, the Nomad's Soul. Which, if you could find nowadays to run, Tip might be interested in, but it'd be a difficult one to find to run. I think Skyrim became a lot of people's all-time favorites. I personally own 2 different copies of it, one for PlayStation 3 and one for PlayStation 4. Partly because the PlayStation 4 version has mod support. So that I could just go around and mess around with stuff. I need the other one. There it is. There it goes. Which is the exact opposite of me there, Sydney. I beat all of the main content, and I still haven't beaten all of the DLC. And to go back to one of the things you said earlier, Kinetic, about getting into gaming earlier in life, I got introduced to gaming when I was really young. As a matter of fact, the very first game that I ever played was Pac-Man. And that was on the original Atari 2600. And Sydney, I never really got stuck. I just stumbled into the main quest line to beat the dragon and never really went back to finish any of the DLC. I keep meaning to go back and play Skyrim again, and I probably will here eventually. Yes, I lived through the time period. Mind you, I was very, very young when that happened, but I lived through the time period where Atari nearly killed the gaming industry in the United States. I was about 5, I think, when that happened. 4 or 5. Possibly younger. But Nintendo came around and kind of saved everything, which kind of helped out a lot. So, back in the 80s, with the success of one particular movie, that of the E.T. movie, Atari decided they wanted to do a licensed game of it. And it has actually, the Atari version of E.T. has actually been labeled the worst game in history, to the point where they never made their money back on it, and they ended up actually filling a landfill full of cartridges. It was just recently unearthed, the actual landfill that is, with all the cartridges in it, back, just a few years ago. It's part of the reason that when Nintendo debuted their first game console, the original Nintendo, or Famicom as it was known in Japan, they didn't call it a video game system. They called it an entertainment system because they didn't want to be connected with Atari and that whole fiasco. Yep. After the Atari, there were not any US made game consoles for a very long time. Once the Nintendo came out, then there were a few companies that tried. Most of them failed. Usually after not very long. There is a little bit of hyperbole, I will say, kinetic in that, but they pretty much brought down an entire industry with a single game, to the point where there weren't really any like arcade machines until in the US, until a lot of the Japanese games started coming over. Yes, and the interesting thing about Nintendo, Nintendo's a very, very old company. As a matter of fact, Nintendo started their life as a card company, making playing cards. Go on. Oop, that slipped off. No wonder it's not going on. Yes, like deck cards. As well as, I believe, Mahjong tiles. That I'm not sure on, though. But I know they made playing cards. There we go. See, and I've never played actual Mahjong. There we go, there's the right one. You've never understood how Mahjong works and you're Asian. I never really understood it myself, and Mahjong is one of those things that there's so many. It's kind of like American. Well, I shouldn't say American. It's kind of like poker nowadays. There's so many different versions of poker, and there are so many different ways to play Mahjong. It can be played as a solo game. It can be played as a betting game, even though you won't ever legally find that in Japan nowadays, since gambling is outlawed, pretty much. That's why they have pachinko machines. Because while pachinko, you're putting money in or tokens into a machine and winning tokens, you're not actually gambling for money. That's how most Americans know pachinko, or not pachinko, as know Mahjong as a solo player game, because that's the version that you find on most computers is the solo solitaire style game. The original game, as from what I understand, and I could be completely wrong on this because I haven't done a lot of research on Mahjong, but it, like a lot of games, was a multiplayer game. Similar to Dominoes. Dominoes is a multi-person game. But nowadays, most people think nowadays anyways, especially, most people think of dominoes in the way that, of setting things up to be knocked down. In really elaborate patterns. That was how, when I was younger, I played with dominoes. But as I got older, I actually learned how to play actual dominoes. And it is actually a interesting and kind of fun game to play. And again, like most games of that type, there are a ton of different ways to play. The most common version that I always played was what's called Mexican Train. And now we are at the part where the legs can go on. There's one. And two, and I still got to put all the decals on this thing. And there's a lot. A lot. Oh, actually I need to take those off. I did get the legs done. And since you didn't see that, I'm going to show you a little neat thing on these. So this is, in previous streams, I've talked about the engineering that goes into these. I want you to watch these seams right along here as I move the knee joint. And how it moves to facilitate that movement. That movement allows it to move like that, but still has an additional joint here that gives you pretty much full range of motion of the leg. Wow. I may have to just stand this up once it's all assembled just to see where it sits at in comparison to where my camera sits, to see if the top of it touches. Well, it won't touch. It'll probably be right in about here, full height. Considering I've only got it zoomed in a little, I've only got my camera zoomed in a little bit. As a matter of fact, I'm going to hop out and zoom out for a second. And this is the fully completed 1/100 scale of the exact same mobile suit. And it's not even as tall as the 1/60 scale's legs. And let me finish up the last little bit of this mid-torso section. Once I find what pieces I need for the back of it. Oh, just a single piece. Okay. Yes, it is very small. And I will show you some of the other features, kinetic, of the legs. And part of what drew me to this particular mobile suit as far as a design goes. And then we'll probably take a quick break. Let me grab a drink here. Let's get these back pieces on. So, some of the other features on the leg that has to do with the transformation sequence, as it's called destroy mode, where it in the series is supposed to unleash the natural psychic abilities of the pilot, is the legs extend on the upper part. Whoop. Knocking parts off. There we go. On the lower leg, there. That lock? Yes, it did. On the knee. These little side pieces on the leg. These panels here. Oh, and this piece here. I need to move that before I move this piece. There's these little wing type pieces that pop out. Oop. There we go. That one's out now. And then this piece can be a little more finicky. Pops into there. The foot, these pieces rotate down. These side pieces rotate up. That little piece of the foot moves, and then this heel piece extends out. Whoop. So there's a lot of very precise engineering that goes into this. And, and this piece here also moves out, which there's a little thruster in that portion there too. Yes, now it has fancy heels. But the way all of it fits together. Yes, it's very fashionable. It's ready for the runway. And then this upper skirt portion also has a few gimmicks in it. This piece here is a little bit more finicky. I wonder, can I? maybe change how that sits and make it work a little bit better. Possibly. Not really. As part of the transformation gimmick, as well as this. Gundam strutting its heels and skirt. Yep. That is the lower torso built. Next, I believe it'll be the arms. And then lastly, the head. Whether we'll get that far tonight, I don't know. This left leg I actually built off stream. And I also did, we're going to zoom in here real quick and see how well I can get these into focus before we go to break. I wouldn't be surprised, Sydney, if there's somebody out there who has done something like that. Potentially set to I'm Too Sexy. I mean, there was a guy who was doing a whole bunch of animated videos in video game stuff and did a World of Warcraft thing set to I'm Too Sexy. But, as you can see on here, I've added, actually we may do this, I think. Let me hop over, move this a little closer to the camera and see if I can get it to focus in on it. Yeah. These are some of the decals that I've already done on this particular leg. I have not done that with the other side. I may wait to do that till the end, as the last kind of final cleanup stream, but we'll see. But with that, I'm going to take a quick break here and grab myself potentially a snack real quick, because I need a little something to keep going here. And I will see you guys shortly. Oh, and real quick, the song that's about to play is from Big Bad Bosses, which is an album that was done by a few different online personalities, including Alex Fossiani and Gerard Khalil, also known as The Completionist. So, I hope you enjoy.
Up at 6 like a morning glory. Fix breakfast at my inventory. Get to the point, won't bore you with a story.
Surprise.
It's eggs. Gotta rule over all them zones. Got the tones that's blowing up phones. But when I'm hungry, you know I'm on a Jones for eggs. Fettuccine alla in the kitchen where the pros go. I'll cook you something pro bono. But all I know is eggs. Huevos rancheros or mochuleños. faith. Not Dr. Avocado or Dr. Grape. I'm an ovoid man with an ovoid plan. That's eggs.
Straight up on a griddle or a pan.
People see me mustache, damn it, make me nauseous. Fools like to step and ask if I'm the walrus. That's the wrong song, what's the matter with you? But screw it, I got a 300 IQ. I got that multiple genre bling. I got 4 and 20 rings. I'm like Australian Burger King, cause I put eggs on everything. Back to business, back to me green heels. I got that custard, they pay me in clean bills. French toast, take the day off with eggs.
Put 'em in your face.
I got a lock on protein. That's why my figures stay so lean. I'm gonna dominate the whole scene with eggs. Mess around and I throw down like outlet. Round chef challenge, make your best omelet. Okonomiyaki or matzo brie. I poach and I baste and I scramble and I fry. And I can fly, did I mention that? I got machinery to crush it flat. But when I'm fiending, I go full fat free. Ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta. I'm Dr. Eggman. I'm not an Eggman. Don't make me beg, man.
Don't play no game.
I wrote the book
There we go. There's the right camera. Okay. So, real quick, before we get started on the next part of the build, I thought I might show off a little something. Moving as many times as I have since I built this one has not been kind to it. But I thought I'd real quick show off the very first perfect grade I ever built, which is the red ashtray from Gundam Seed. This is by far probably one of my favorite mobile suit designs that's ever come out. And this particular one has some really, really nice kind of mechanical movement with it. And what attracted me to this was its overall design aesthetic. It looks really, really good. But the other thing that attracted me to it was the thing that you don't often see on most mobile suits. They're mostly using like beam weapons or laser rifles, but the red ashtray uses one of his weapons is this. And the fun part about this one, and this is one of those things that Bandai threw in there knowing that the only way that you would know about it is if you assembled it or watched somebody assemble it. I can actually pull out this, which is called a Mikugi pin, which is on a real samurai sword, what holds the handle to the blade. And I can pull this off. And I'm going to zoom in on this so you can actually see it. But down here, and it's hard to see because it's really chrome, but down here is actual Japanese kanji of the actual sword maker, which is what you would find on an actual Japanese sword. Because any pertinent information to a Japanese sword, such as the swordsmith who made it, testing information, all of that kind of stuff would be all inscribed on the tang of the sword. And if I remember right, I haven't actually translated the kanji on that, but from what I understand, they actually attributed the making of that blade to a real historical Japanese swordsmith. Okay, now on to the arms. Yes, it is a really neat detail, and just one of those things that's in there, which is one of the things that I find interesting about Bandai is they put a lot of detail into stuff, and detail that you may never actually see unless you actually build it. So I need S18. Okay, Kinetic. And I need to move a few things around here so I can actually see. There we go. Well, okay, so this uses polycap. And one of these plastic pieces that's similar in shape to the polycaps. Ah, pushes right into the back of it. Okay. So this must be the upper shoulder joint of it. Ah, that's all right, Kinetic. Thank you for stopping by. Okay. Glad you stopped by to hang out. I enjoy having you here, Kinetic. See you next stream. Okay, and this is, yeah, this is definitely the shoulder pieces. That's exactly what this is. And this is the shoulder joint. I can tell just by looking at the shape, because despite being different in a lot of ways, there's an amazing amount of similarities between this and the 1/100 scale. Oh, there it is. Helps if I'm looking at the right piece. It also helps if I put that piece in the right direction. We are getting very close to the end of this kit. I say that, but there's still quite a bit left to do. Because this is just the shoulder, and I've still got the head, which has a lot of moving parts. As well as the backpack and all the weapon pieces. Ah. There we go. That's all clipped together. And now, so we're building the inner frame for the arm. Slowly but surely. There are more poly caps that will be going into these. Let's slip these over here because that's the way it's actually supposed to be assembled. And there's another small piece that goes in there. I wonder if this is just a piece to fill it out, or if this is actually going to have a function in the mechanics. I have a feeling, looking at it, that it is a piece that actually has a function in the mechanics. So it looks like it may pivot. So, palm number 9. Which I'm curious what that actually stands for. Oh, nope, that's the wrong piece. That is not the right piece. This is the right piece. That goes in this side. Go. Same here. Now for the polycaps. Which polycaps do I need? 18. So that's this little guy here. And this guy here. Now these get sandwiched together. But I just got to make sure that this actually gets put together in the right direction. Oh, that needs a little bit of cleanup. Okay, so that's how that sits. And there like that. And this piece goes over top. Let's line these up first, because I think that's going to be the easiest way to do this. Yep, there we go. That is the easiest way. Yeah, just like that. Okay. We are good. Yep, and that definitely is going to have a part to play in the mechanics of it. Just because it's on a little hinge piece, so it's going to move in some way to facilitate the gimmicks of this kit. Yes, 7A. Oh, come on. Come out of there. There we go. That one's going to need some cleanup because that did not want to come clean. Well, that's actually... No, it's this side. This side did not come very clean. That could be due to the fact that I may need to replace these nippers soon. Because they are getting old. I've had them for quite a while. You're in the middle of a trial. Which trial were you working on? There we go. Okay, so a lot of these have that plastic piece on one side and then the poly cap on the other. Ah. Okay, the Fire Realm. Yeah, I haven't done very many of the trials. Just like I haven't done very many of the the dimensional stuff that's in there either. Like there's a couple like enemies, specifically harder enemies that you can do, but you have to pull them in from like a different dimension type thing. I'm not sure exactly what you mean by that, Sydney. That's exactly how that goes. You died. That's no good. That's pretty much what happened to me every time I would try to do most of the challenges in it. Is that all together? Yeah, it looks like it. Oh, that's interesting. It's keyed so that it can only go in one way. And it spreads out force across it. That's actually, again, a very smart thing that they did there. So that's the elbow. Okay. Well, we might get through the inner frame here tonight. We'll see. Oh, nope, I need a different piece. That would be on here. These are all the Psycho Frame arm pieces. Yeah, there they are. No undergating. Doesn't look like much cleanup on these either. Yeah, I constantly died in the God of War series, and it's part of the reason I decided that I was going to wait to try any of the trials or anything like that I could avoid until after I was able to do New Game Plus and could go through and really power myself up. Which I know you just recently beat it, Sydney, so I assume that's kind of what you're doing too. Either that or you're kind of going back through without starting a new game. There we go. Oops. Let's not forget this. Okay, so you're just continuing on after after completing it. See, I figured I started my New Game Plus run. Haven't done very much with it, but I figured I'd just start the game over, and then I can get a lot of the stuff that I need to get to upgrade the Leviathan axe all the way. Or at least, that's my hope. Because you need a lot towards that once you get your weapons fairly powered up, it takes a lot to get them all the way maxed out, because there's a lot of things. Muspelheim, okay. I don't really remember Muspelheim. I don't remember if that's actually one you can even get to. In the normal game. Oh. Ha. Helps if I put it in the right way. There we go. Okay. And this goes here. There. So much of this translucent plastic. Oh, this must be where the hand sits. Because this must be the forearm piece. This, yep, that's where the hand must plug in, because this or these, I should say, are the little cuffs that sit at the front of the armor. This is coming together nicely. He almost started over when you were in Tears last trial. Yeah. Just wait until you start going after. Where's E? Oh, there it is. Just wait until you start going after the Valkyries. Unless you've already done that. Because they are, from what I understand, the most difficult enemies in the entire game. That is part of the reason I decided to start over. Specifically for those, so I can get as powerful as I can before I go up against them. There we go. You're gonna poke it with a stick. I don't know if that's such a good idea. Yeah. So the first of the beam saber hilts are getting built here. It's that one. Maybe a metal stick. I mean, maybe. You might want to try an enchanted stick. I think that might work a little better. What noodle? Might just sit there and laugh at you at that. Oh, that one's actually got some undergating on it. That's interesting. I still find it interesting when they do undergating on these inner frame parts. Because they don't matter as much. If it attacks, it gets stuck and then it'll be spongy. I suppose that's one way to look at it. Oh, as I'm cutting these things out, whew, my voice went a little bit there. But as I'm cutting some of these parts out, I'm starting to see parts that I recognize what they go to. Which I suppose is the advantage of having built the smaller version of this, because, like I said, there are an amazing amount of similarities between the two. We might get through the arms at least tonight. Or at least mostly. Just like that. Okay. Whoops, I forgot about that undergating on those parts and forgot to clean them up. Do you know what's funny about that, Sydney? I think most of the chat, when Tip was playing that particular game, I think they would agree that that would have helped him out a lot. Yeah, definitely would be. And I found that an interesting take on the myth, too, because the myth doesn't say that he couldn't feel anything. The myth just says that he would be protected. And oddly enough, it was Loki who actually ended up killing him, so it kind of fits in the storyline and still stays somewhat true to the original myth as well. Most gods, I guess you could say, were protected. But, so, the Norse mythos was a little different. So the Greek pantheon was very much a pantheon where gods were pretty much immortal. And the Norse mythology, they were immortal as far as lifetime goes, but they could be killed in combat. Which is why Freya, Baldur's mother, asked that he be protected. Hence the reason why he couldn't die. He couldn't be killed by another person or another god or anything like that. The only thing that he had that could harm him, that could kill him, was mistletoe. And that is because mistletoe was considered a young plant and could not enter into a binding contract. So there were some interesting differences between the Norse mythologies and most others. Yes, he did get really annoying very quickly. But he was a necessary piece, especially to tie into the sequel, because according to the Norse mythos, the death of Baldur was one of the key things going into Ragnarok. However, they could have completely ignored a lot of the core mythos and just done what they wanted with it. But I appreciate the little bits where they did stay somewhat true to it. As well as, it's interesting, if you go online, there's some interesting videos out there of experts reacting to the story of God of War, to that particular God of War. And there was one Norse historian who was looking at it and really enjoyed how they depicted Thor, how he wasn't the golden god like he's depicted so often. He was much more normal looking, and actually somewhat more what you would expect to see in the Norse culture. How he's bigger, not like super muscular, but definitely a man that you can tell you wouldn't want to mess with. And as far as the little bit that you actually see of Thor's hammer, in that little scene that you actually see in it, or can see, I should say, if you go back to the house at the right time, they used what's considered nowadays a traditional look for Mjolnir, even though the truth is there's not really a great description of Mjolnir in their myths. Just like most of the realms, they could play with however they wanted to, because again, there's not really any major descriptions as to what most of the other realms are like. The main ones that actually got described really at all were Midgard, or Earth, and I believe Jotunheim. Most of the gods really weren't described either. Other than a few distinguishing features. Helheim is interesting. And there are a few things that are described about Helheim. In the original mythos, which again they took a little bit of liberty with, Because if you remember right, you have to fight the Guardian of Helheim. But the actual, technically what you would have fought in that would not have actually been considered the actual Guardian of Helheim. However, they do show the Guardian, the true Guardian of Helheim, in that world. And that is actually the giant bird that you see in the distance. That should have been the actual Guardian of Helheim. The one who actually oversees the souls entering Helheim. Oh. So what are we building now? Because this almost looks like shoulder pieces. Yeah, this looks like shoulder pieces. Why do they have me jumping all over the place? Oh, there we go. Nope, nope, nope. Other way. Yep, the bird was technically the actual guardian. Oh, Alfheim? The realm of the elves? Where you have to get the light of Yggdrasil? Yeah, that realm... That realm is a difficult one. And one I don't particularly care for either. It's frustrating, especially when you don't remember where things are or how to do things, like when I was playing. Okay, that is correct. Yeah, the chests are really complicated in there. Of course, I find most of the chests to be somewhat difficult sometimes. There we go. Oh, we've got some foil stickers coming up. J6, J7. Ah, so these guys here. Yeah, some of them look deceptively easy, and they are just a pain. Okay. Ah, this should be fun. Yep, these pieces here. So these get foil stickers on them, which should be interesting to see, because it actually might set off this reddish color a little bit more. Which ones are they? One. Okay, so these guys here. On one on one side, two on the other. Yeah, they are frustrating. That is definitely for sure, Sydney. There was a fuzzy on that sticker. And which one goes on what side? Ah, there we go. Yeah, I haven't really explored Muspelheim either. So I have no idea about their chests at all. Okay, so more of the armor. So E10, E12. Here and here. Yeah, not gonna get quite through the arms tonight. I can already tell that. And E11 for the other side. E12 and E13. You're gonna head into Muspelheim after you get past the trials. So much undergating to cut off of these things. So much. Start them, so you gotta finish them. Yeah. I suppose. Piece goes there, so this goes on the opposite side. Maybe, maybe not. Something doesn't seem right there. Yeah, I know. There we go. Ah, that's what I was doing wrong. I was putting him on the wrong side. There we go. And then need this piece here. And I think I'll finish up this shoulder piece, and then I think it's time to call it a night. So that goes on there. There we go. Now that's snapped in. And then you need... there it is. Yeah, see, I don't mind. The trolls aren't bad to me, but the witches are a pain. E1 and 2. Ah, these little guys here. That's an idea. Maybe once I get through this model build, maybe I'll stream some God of War, just kind of doing some of the cleanup stuff on New Game Plus. Oh, the lizards, the jumping lizards, they can be a pain too. Come on, lock in. Why is that not wanting to go in? Do I need to push it with the... There we go. That's what I wanted. Ugh, yeah. They're not bad one or two, but multiple is always a hassle. Oh, there it is. This guy here. So this piece is almost just a larger replica of what's actually on the 1/100 scale. Pretty much the exact same piece, just larger. Yeah. But frankly, the head's one of the best parts of the game, in my opinion. Even if he does get annoying from time to time. Just because he tells a lot of history of the world when you're boating around. I almost wanted to make a compilation video just boating around with him, just to hear all of his stories. Because other than the stuff you find, like the little tapestry things, he is one of the main areas where you learn a lot of the lore. Which reminds me, I need to go looking because apparently there's some Easter eggs in Horizon Forbidden West that are God of War references. Some little statues you can find of Atreus and the two dwarfs. Sindri and the other one. Yeah, Brock. That's the other one. Rotate that in. Then these go on here like this. Oh, I missed another piece of undergating. How did I do that? There we go. Now that that piece is clean. Ugh. How did I miss so much undergating? Probably because I got distracted. Talking about God of War. There we go. Now it's fitting together properly. Yeah. But it makes for an interesting contrast when it comes to the two. Okay, well, now that that shoulder piece is done, it is late, and I have to work in the morning, so it is time to say goodnight. Not really anybody I'd want to raid on right now, so I hope everybody has a wonderful rest of their week. I will be back on Thursday, continuing on with this build. Hopefully we'll get a little bit further. Hopefully I'll be able to finish up the arms, should be able to. Then we'll be starting on the head, and the backpack, and the weapons, hopefully, depending on how far we go. And remember, you never know what somebody in the world is going through. So be kind if you can. Remember that anger is a natural thing and happens. But sometimes maybe just take a look at it, examine it, and make sure why you're angry, why you're mad. And just make sure that you're handling it properly and not being too rough on others and yourself. Thank you for joining me. As always, I enjoy having everybody here. And have a wonderful night.
You know I got it going on, wrecking till the break of dawn. Ain't got no remorse for puppets or soldiers. I don't know who you're working for, got a piece of work in store. We got whole armada stacked like I told you. It's gonna be curtains for this room, gonna be every type of doom. Yeah, I don't know if you're human or monster. Oh, when they step out to my grave, ain't gonna have no soul to save. It got torn apart when I joined this roster. I'm being totally for real, I'm making my appeal. I'm waiting for the cycle to break down. You know that every single day I wake up on my way to destiny and reckoning. I pray, I put aside all my rage and engage anger management. I gotta go with the flow and see the light. Tonight we fight and I die and I did up. Let's make the world go right. It's been so long I can't recall, and the greatest joke of all is I listened to that old wizard rambling. Had I known this was my fate, would've walked out on that gate. Cause I ain't a man who's about to go gambling. But you said it was for sure, immortality on tour, the solution and the cure to my issues. Every time I take a hit, I get sent back to the pit, and I feel the spirit form on my tissues. And then I go back to the hall, in the castle where I fall, that I built with blood and sweat for a century. I'm just waiting to be played. Then you go right on your way. And I'm thinking about refusing you X-ray. You think you got it really bad. My life is way more sad.